Hey guys, welcome back to another paint and talk video where I paint while discussing issues about personal development, productivity, mindfulness. I'm really exploring these alternative content formats, and I just want to supplement my painting videos with other areas that I'm very interested in. And today I just want to talk about limits, and specifically limiting beliefs. And I want to give a few insights on why I think limiting beliefs are important. They have something they offer, and I just want to talk about why I think they're important. Limiting beliefs are generally seen as negative. They're not beliefs that are generally useful to us, or they're not beliefs that society has taught us to look at as anything but destructive. Which means that when we have limiting beliefs, we've grown to think of them as something we need to get rid of. So you'll find very many articles out there that suggest that you should shatter your limiting beliefs and move out of your comfort zones and things of that nature. But as that has its own place and time, and I'll get to that towards the end. But I also want to look on the other side and just try to find out, why do they exist? In my own life, I found two very important reasons why I think they exist for me. And the first one is limiting beliefs fuel my curiosity. When I have a limiting belief, for me it's like a wall. I need to see what's on the other side of that wall. Some limiting beliefs are not very good, of course, but some are there for a reason. But then there are other limiting beliefs that I have and that force me to push forward. For example, when I started drawing, that process of pushing the limits kept me curious. So it's like, what happens when I push this? What happens when I try to overcome this? Those results are worth it, let me say, right? So limiting beliefs can be used to fuel your curiosity. When you have a limiting belief, most especially things that have to do with your work, that can be an opportunity for you to become curious, right? By questioning those beliefs and trying to push past them. It can be a very simple thing, like I don't know, so like, say I sleep when I'm given work, then you can ask yourself, what happens if I don't sleep when I'm given, if I try not to sleep, and how can I make that work? Like, how can I do my work without sleeping? So it forces you to be curious, to explore different ideas other than just conforming to a narrative that may or may not be true, all right? And so, but there is only one way you can know that. It's by addressing the limiting belief, because the limiting belief is there. It is just an indicator. It just points you to what you have to address, all right? And then it's up to you to either accept the idea or use it as something to push back against and try to find ways of going past it, all right? So instead of accepting the belief that whenever you're given work, you just sleep, you try to find ways of, how can I make this work without sleeping? Okay. And this curiosity, it it seeps into different things. It's not just sleeping and work, it's everything. It's with the quality of work you can do, or the amount of sales you can make, or the quality of paintings you can do, or the talents you can acquire. Everything, all right, as long as it imposes a limit on your progress, it is an opportunity for you to be curious and to figure out how you can best move past that limit. All right. So closely related to this, to the first point, is through that curiosity they offer you a chance to grow. Limiting beliefs, yes, they are limits in themselves, but moving past them is also a signal that you're growing, all right, or like you're progressing in your work, in your advancements. Like in my case, when I started drawing in 2018, I think, I didn't think I could put paint on a canvas and make any sensible form, right? It's just I thought it was something that I had to be born with. Of course, when I was younger, I used to draw in pencil, but I never used to bend forms with values and color, light, and everything. So that was a limiting belief I had, that I somehow cannot use paint. I cannot make anything using color or whatever form using color. And overcoming that brought me into a realization that I could actually do this, and that in itself was a point of growth. So even whatever you have in your work, or whatever you think you can't achieve, can be simply a limiting belief that you're holding. But if you use your curiosity, like we spoke about in the first point, and you find a way to move past that limiting belief, then it becomes a point of growth by overcoming that limit, if that makes sense. All right. So limiting beliefs are very, very important in signaling which areas we need to address if we need to move forward. Chances are you're not going to have a limiting belief on something you don't care about. Most of your limiting beliefs are going to come in around things you deeply care about, all right, or the ambitions you're pursuing, and the goals, the targets you want to achieve, the goals you want to hit. That is where most of those limiting beliefs are going to arise. And once they're coming up, all right, then you have the opportunity to address each of them as they arise, and chances are you're not going to ever exhaust them, because no matter how far you move up, you're always going to experience different limits. You're going to keep pushing limits. All right, it's called pushing the limits. You're going to have different limits at different levels. So accepting these limits when you're still starting out is failure, right? But taking them as signals and using them as points of curiosity to determine your progress, then you have this opportunity to actually push all the limits that you thought were impossible. We're all born with different capabilities, limits, interests, and everything, but oftentimes we take on limits based on where we were born, our cultures, our friends, families, and society in general. But when it comes to Now I'm speaking of progress again in your work. Don't allow other people's limits to be your own, because they have their own limits, and their limits are meant to guide them in their own journeys where they want to be. Your limits are your own, and they speak to your interests. You have to address your limits in line with your interests. So it makes no sense to define your limits, or to allow other people to define your own limits. Okay. And then lastly, don't try to shatter the belief. But this idea of there are a lot of self-help articles out there that tell you this is how you can shatter your limiting belief, or this is why you must overcome your limiting belief. And then the ideas they suggest on how to go about it is not actually addressing the reason why you're having the limiting belief, but rather it is addressing the limiting belief itself. All right, it is a strange thing. I think it's like denying yourself an opportunity of growth. Right? When you try to shatter a belief rather than letting your curiosity guide you, you lose the chance you have to actually progress and move forward. Okay? Because you won't actually, you'll not shatter the belief, but you'll take on a different belief altogether. Again, now this is something deeper that I don't want to get into to make this video very long. But when the simple thing that I can say is that once you let your curiosity guide you, all right, and you find a way of overcoming the limits that you've been having, that limiting belief will automatically fade away, and then another new one will come up, will arise. So if you have a limiting belief, most especially in your work, in your progress, chances are you're not going to succeed by trying to suppress it through reading blogs and articles, but you're rather going to succeed by approaching it and then letting your curiosity guide you to find a way to progress forward. And once you do that, then the limit will fall away, and then another one will come up, and the cycle will continue. It is just progress, all right? It's just progress. So and limits fall in several areas of your life. They're not just in your progress, but in the way you relate to other people, in your acceptance of other people's ideas and cultures. Again, your curiosity can guide you, and then you can find points of progress while you're being curious, right? But I like touching upon the point of progress, because progress is much meaningful to me. But then again, these ideas can be used in different areas of your life besides progress and productivity. Can be used in relationships and everything else. So I'm going to stop the video here. This is all I had for you today. I'm going to keep experimenting with different video format, because I don't just want to paint a time lapse and just leave it there. I care about different other things, and those are things I want to share. So that's why I'm making this video as a talking point on different. I'm going to be making videos on progress or social issues, productivity, mindset, and I'm trying out. So let me know in the comment section if you found this video useful, and if you have any more suggestions, let me know. Until then, I'll speak to you soon. Take care.